Hi, everybody. This is Dr. Robyn MacKillop with Get That GED. And today we are going to be working on area and just a little bit of perimeter, but for composite shapes. And that's when you've got more than one shape. You could have like a half circle and a rectangle or triangles or whatever. It's more likely that you will have composite shape questions on the math test. They're not going to be kind, right? GED is not kind. They're not going to give you a square and ask you to find the area. They're going to give you something more complicated. So we're going to work on those today. All right, I'm going to switch over to my document camera. Hopefully everything's working. Excellent. So again, I sent this sheet to everybody again. You will have this available during the test. If you are testing in a testing center, you will likely have a hard copy. If you are testing online, it will be available on screen, and it's always available on screen for any of the tests. So area, this is all the geometry formulas. You do not need to memorize these. They'll be available. Perimeter, we haven't done surface area yet, and we haven't done volume yet. So we're still kind of working in here, but with more complicated shapes. All right, so let's start with the easiest shapes are always rectangles and squares. We're going to do a couple of these, then we'll do maybe the triangle and the parallelogram, which is a rectangle that's a little bit lopsided, that one. All right, so I'm going to move this. I need a little more space, so I'm going to move this out. There we go. That's a little better. Okay, so let's take a look at number 3, the rectangle. We're looking for the area, and the area of a rectangle is just length times width. Not bad at all. So in this case, we've got 40 times 48. Let your calculator do the work. It's just a little more concise and a whole lot faster than doing it by hand. So 48 by 40, the answer to this, the area is 1920. So not bad. But again, this is not what you'll get on the test. They won't give you a nice rectangle to work on. But it is a good idea to know how to do them because they'll be attached to other shapes. So not bad at all. Then let's go ahead and take a look at the parallelogram. It's the exact same idea. Even though it's pushed over, so it's a little lopsided, they have to give you the height. If they just gave you a parallelogram and said it's 17 and the side is, let's say the side was 21, that would not be the area because this side is an angle. You need the height from top to bottom, so they have to give that to you. And again, this would be 17 times 19, and that would be your area. So 17 times 19, 323. Perfect. So don't let shapes that are obnoxious get to you. There's always a way to break them down. Now let's take a look at the triangle, and the area of a triangle, I think this is review, is 1/2 base times height. I'm going to write that in here just so you can see it. 1/2 base times height. So our base is 35. Our height is 17. So it's going to be 1/2 times 35 times 17. And your calculator will do that beautifully. You hit the fraction button, which is this n over d, and you get the nice little fraction set up. Put the 1 in, use your arrow button, which is this big gray button, arrow down, put your 2 in. Now see, your cursor is still in fraction mode. So again, arrow out of that. Now you can say times 35 times the height was 17. Oh, that's lovely, isn't it? That will not be the answer on your GED test. So there's a way to get around that. We're going to turn it into a decimal. This button right here that says table, it's hard to see. My light is shining on that, reflecting. Right above it, it says fraction, toggle, decimal. So that's what we're going to use to get that into a regular number and not a fraction. And because it's on top, we're going to hit that green button. So green button, fraction, toggle, decimal. There it is, even easier to see. Enter. 297.5. This is the answer that would be on your test. So it's a really good idea to practice using your calculator, getting used to the different buttons, because, oh my gosh, it makes things so much faster. Totally. But that looks like a much easier number to deal with, doesn't it? So 297.5 is the area of that triangle. 297.5. All right, now I'm going to move on to some other shapes. We've got trapezoids. Trapezoids are not any worse. They just have a different formula. So we're going to take a look at our formula sheet. It's a longer formula, 1/2 times height times base 1 plus base 2. Ridiculous, right? But you don't have to memorize it. I'm going to write it down so you can see it better because it's really small. That was 1/2 times the height times base 1 plus base 2. Every parallelogram, this is actually a classic parallelogram, a longer base, but every one of them has two sides that are perpendicular, perfectly straight. They run alongside each other. In this one, it's B1, B2. In this one, it's the top and bottom as well, B1, B2, base 1, base 2. In this one, they're on the sides, base 1, base 2. This one is top and bottom. This one, side to side. This one, top and bottom. So that's all that they're looking for base 1 and base 2. They're looking for the measurements of the two parallel lines. So let's try this one. We're going to set it up as 1/2. That's just part of the formula. Then we're going to multiply the height, which is this 46. So 1/2 times 46 times base 1, 71, plus base 2, the other parallel line, is 30. Now you can do it by hand, but let your calculator do it. It's just so much faster. And you can type it in just like I wrote it, which is really kind of cool. All right, so we're going to do the fraction button. 1 arrow down, 2 arrow out of fraction mode. And then I'm going to use the parentheses, just like I wrote it. Right above 8 and 9, you've got your open parentheses and closed parentheses. You just type them in. So open 46, closed, then open again 71 plus 30, closed. It's all typed in just like I wrote it. Hit enter. 2323. So that's another reason to get used to that calculator. It saves you time, and time is your enemy on GED tests. It's super easy to run out of time. And if you leave problems unanswered, you probably won't pass. And so if you can get through problems quickly, it's much better for you. And I will say, this is kind of an aside for the test itself. If you come across a problem and you're just like, you know what, I have no idea how to do this, then I want you to pick an answer. I want you to have decided on what letter you would pick for an answer before you even go into test. You're going to have A, B, C, and D, right? If I can get this on here. So your answers are going to be A, B, C, and D for the most part. So before you even go into test for any of the 4 tests, pick the letter that you will always choose if you run into a problem you have no idea about. So let's say you're going to pick B every time. This increases your odds of getting some of the guesses right by sticking to one letter. So just make a decision. Are you always going to choose A, always going to choose B, always going to choose C, or always going to choose D? And then for any problem you don't like or not sure how to do, that's the one you pick. You can also flag your problems. So if you're going through, you're doing just fine, then boom, you get this terrible problem. And you said to yourself, you know, I already picked B for anything I don't know. You mark the B, so you have answered the question. Then you can flag it up at the top of the screen. That means you can come back and look at it if you have time at the end of the test. Good trick. And you always pick the same letter because your odds of getting some of those right is much greater picking the same letter. So that's a little tip for testing. All right, let's do another one of these. Let's do the sideways one. Let's do this one. So they gave us the height, even though it's tipped over, and that's fine. Our 2 parallel lines are the 27 and the 50. I mean, if you wanted to make it look like a classic trapezoid, just turn it sideways. There's your base 1, base 2, and your height. But you know, if they can mess with you, they'll turn them counterclockwise. They'll stand them up on the point, but you just have to know your bases are always the parallel lines. So for this one, we've got 1/2, that's just part of the formula, times the height, which is 21, times base 1, 50, plus base 2, 27. And again, let your calculator do that. So we hit the fraction button, 1 arrow down, 2 arrow out of fraction mode, parentheses, 21 is your height, close parentheses, parentheses again, base 1, 50, plus base 2, 27, close parentheses, and then you hit enter. Oh, that's a lovely one again, right? Nobody wants to write that down. That's not going to be one of your answers. So this means we are going to use the fraction into decimal. So we click the green button, click that button. There it is. See, it pulls the answer right down. You don't even have to retype it. Enter. 808.5. That makes a lot more sense. 808.5. So not bad. I don't expect that you'll have a lot of issues here and here. The issue will come in with what we're going to do next, because they won't give you a nice single shape. We know that. They'll start to do things like this, or like this. Like this one, this is half a circle and a rectangle. This one is a quarter of a circle and a rectangle. Square, triangles, rectangle, rectangle, triangles. They're not nice. They're not nice at all. So if you can get comfortable with multiple shapes in one, you're way ahead of the game. So let's try this one. This is still area. The nice thing about this page is we're dealing with rectangles and squares. So it's a little more straightforward because the area of a rectangle or a square is really, rectangle is length times width, and a square is side squared or side times side. Same exact thing. When you get a composite, you're going to need to break it down into the two shapes. So let's deal with this one first. Put a line right across here and deal with one shape at a time. So this rectangle, the area of it is going to be 9 times 7, right? So the area of this one is 63. Now this, what is the measurement at the bottom? We know this part is 3 and this part is 3. The entire length is 9. So that means this piece or this piece are also 3.
Yeah, I think
They will often give you a composite shape without all the measurements filled in. They'll give you, believe it or not, they'll give you enough measurements to fill in the blanks. But it can be a little daunting, especially if you're not expecting it. It's something to throw you. Don't let it. All right, so this time we know this is 3. So this little rectangle is 6 times 3, or 18. So rectangle 1, 63, rectangle 2, 18. Now we're just going to add them together. So that's 11, 6, 7, 8. Our total is 81. So the total area of this shape is 81 inches squared. And you don't have to worry about the inches squared. That will already be on your answer. They won't ask you to do that, which is kind of nice because it's just one more thing you don't have to deal with. All right, let's take a look at, this one's going to end up being 3 shapes. You've got a rectangle and 2 squares. And you can cut these any way that makes sense to you. If you would rather make this the rectangle, perfectly okay. But you need to get it into shapes that you recognize. So, oh, why is it squared? Because you took a measurement times another measurement. And again, you don't have to deal with that because your answers will always have that in it. And it's a nice thing not to have to deal with because that can throw students. Yeah, it's like, wait a minute, is it inches or is it inches squared or do I have to cube something? You don't need that kind of stress during the test. So yay, one thing that GED did for you because they don't do very much. All right, so let's take a look at this rectangle. We've got an edge of 2. Then we have to figure out what this entire length is. We know this piece is 2. This piece is 2. We also know we've got squares. And a square, every side is the same length, right? So if this side is 2, so is this one, so is this one, so is this one. So now our rectangle is 2 by 2, 4, 6. So it's a 2 by 6. And that means that rectangle is 12 area. Then we have the 2 squares. 2 times 2 is 4. And the other square, don't forget that one, is also 2 times 2 is 4. And then you just add them all together. 12, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 20. 20. So, not bad. I am going to take a look at this one because look at what they did. They gave you a big hole in the middle. So you are figuring out the area of the shaded parts. And that means you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 rectangles. And you don't have to worry about anything in here. Inside, this line is 12. This part is 3. This part is 3. So that means, however you want to cut this up, I guess they cut it up for you, didn't they? Yeah, let me follow how they did it. Oh, wait, no, you still have to figure it out. Okay, so here is the top of this particular, I need a highlighter. This could get really confusing really fast. Okay, we're going to deal with this rectangle first. And that's going to be, hold on 1 second, I'll be right back. I got to answer a question. Okay, I'm back. So we're going to figure out the measurement for the yellowed part.
And then lexicon sign, sign.
And we know this piece here that butts up against the middle is 12 plus 3 more. So from here to the bottom is 15. And then we know that the width is 2. So it's going to be 30. The area of this particular rectangle is 30. Now we'll take a look at this bottom rectangle. Do we know what? I'm going to go to the top. Same triangles. Or triangles, sorry, rectangles. They are the same. So this one and this one are the same. This one and this one are the same. So we actually have 2 rectangles at 30. That's this one and this one. Then we need to figure out the area for this rectangle. It's 15 all the way across, but we don't go all the way across. So we need to figure out what this piece is and subtract it from that 15. And right here, they say it's 2. So if we get rid of this piece, that means from here to here is 13. And then the height is 3, or the width, however you want to say that. So we've got 13 times 3, and that is 39, right? So we've got that one, and this one's exactly the same. So now we have all 4. And we didn't have to deal with that middle space. And then we just add these up. That's going to be 120, 138. So does that make sense? That one is a little bit more complicated just because you have to really make sure you've got all sides. And that is typical of GED shapes. It won't be super clear, but it'll be somewhere. Like this is 15 across. You had to come down here to pull off that 2, but it will be there. They have to give it to you somewhere. Think of it like a puzzle. And then let me see, is there another one we should do?
Back in that corner, back over there, we're not putting the cabinet in.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Let's try this one.
Okay.
This one, there's 2 ways you can do it. You are not looking for the area of the white portion. You only want the area of the gray portion. So you've got this big old rectangle. Ignore the middle for now. We have this nice big rectangle, 7 by 11. So we're going to find the area for the whole thing. And 7 times 11, I believe, is 77, right? So the entire thing, including this white portion, the area is 77. Now, they were very nice and gave us the measurements for the blank space. It's 5 times 3. So the blank space is 15. In this one, we are not going to add that together. We are taking away the middle because we're not actually, there's nothing there. So we're not counting that as part of the area. So we've got 77 minus 15. You know, we added up here, but here we're subtracting. We're taking out that white space, and that will be 62. Does that make sense? Fun, 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 huh? Pretty wild. And for the rest of these shapes, you know, they're the same idea. Here, you're going to have 3 rectangles. You don't even have to worry about this because it's not connected. This one, this is not going to be the same as this. Because look at that. That one's 5 right there. That one's 4. So you just go through and you do 1 rectangle. That's going to be, let's see, it's 14 across. Take away this piece is 5. It's going to be 9 for here to here. And then it's going to be 2 for the height, for the width. So 9 times 2, that one is going to be 18. And you just do them one at a time. Then we come to this one. We know it's 5 and 5, but we have to figure out what this is. So we look over here. The entire thing, top to bottom, is 9. But we've got this little piece that we're not going to count. So 9 minus 2, right? If the whole thing was 9, we're going to take away the 2, which means this piece is 7. This little one is 2. And that's 5 times 7 for this guy right here is 35. Okay, we've got 2 of them. We did that one and we did that one. Now we're going to deal with this long, skinny one down here. And again, we've got to figure out the measurement from here to the end. We know this part is 5. How do we figure out this part? Jump up here. The entire length of the original shape was 14. We need to get rid of this piece. So 14 minus 4 leaves us with 10. This piece would be 4. And we're not going to count that piece because we're not there. We're just going to do this rectangle. So 10 times 2 is 20. And this one's already done for us because we already figured out the measurements. 9 times 4 is 36. And in this one, we add them all up together. And we don't have to worry about that middle because we didn't measure it. We measured this rectangle, this one, and this one. I'll add these up, 8, 14, 19, carry the 1, 9, 10, 109. So they can take a little bit longer, and that's okay. You just want to make sure you find the measurement for each shape. Very nice. And I gave you lots of these to do, and they have the answers on the back. So that will be good practice and you can check your work. All right, now we get into these. Oh my goodness. Let's go to this one. This one at least looks fairly normal.
Sorry, Miss Robyn and Dr. Robyn. I have a question about the last shape, the last shape we made.
Yes.
I have a doubt about the 36 because the last, what was the 36, the last shape?
You're right. I didn't take away the 2, did I?
Yes, because the first one is 18.
Yeah. Yeah, the little guy right here is 9 by 2.
Okay.
So 18. But this one, good catch. I left this from top to bottom. This needs to end right here. So that 2, the 2 inches that I'm not going to count need to be taken away from that. So this isn't 9, it's 7. 7 times 4, which would be 28. Oh, so good. See, I would love to say that I did that on purpose to test you. I didn't. I messed up, but good catch. Then you re-add these up because it is not 109. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Carry the 2, 2, 4, 2, 4, 6, 8. I can't even add now. 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think it's 100. Does that sound better?
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, good catch. And see, what I did was I took the entire length. I forgot to remove that piece because I had already measured that triangle or that. I don't know why I keep calling them triangles. They're rectangles. Good job. Excellent. All right. All right. So this, you could actually get a perimeter question. And perimeter, I kind of like, because all you're doing is adding up the outside pieces, but they will make it so you have to figure out what different measurements are. Let's look at this one, just because this one's a little easier. So up here, 21.1 miles across. They give us this portion, which is 10.1. So what is the length of this dotted line? If the whole thing is 21.1, take away 10.1, then this piece, well, actually, they gave it to us right here, didn't they? This piece is going to be 11. Then, and we know that the side between G and D, 8.1, because the opposing sides of squares and rectangles are the same. Then this is a square. So if this side is 11, so is this side and this side. And for perimeter, you need all sides marked. So let's see if we've got everything we need. We're going to start with the 21.1. 21.1. That gets us across the top. Oops, there goes my pen. So we did that one. Then we're going to add up the side, 8.1 plus. So we've got this portion plus the 11. So we've got this portion. We're going to do 11 again for the bottom piece here. Then 11 one more time for this piece. And they gave us 10.1, so we know that. And they gave us the 8.1. And your perimeter is 80.4. And again, a perimeter is just measuring the outside of any shape. And of course, they will leave blanks, so you have to fill them in. And that's something that you'll be able to do. And I do believe if you're taking the computerized, well, you're all taking the computerized version. I do believe there's a highlighter on the screen, so you could actually mark them out like that if you needed to. They'll probably give you a more complicated set of rectangles, but it's doable. Perimeters are not bad. Let's take a look at this one. And again, we're going to do perimeter for now, and then we will do area for both of these. All right, so this one has been broken up in many, many different shapes. Let's start with this triangle. Do we have all the measurements we need for this triangle? We've got 2. We don't have this. We may need to use a Pythagorean theorem. Let's see. The top here is 8.1, which means the bottom here is 8.1. We don't care about the interior because we're doing perimeter. Here, the bottom of this triangle, see how it's upside down? 4.3. Actually, let's make that, that's just that piece. We don't care that it's a triangle. This side from top to bottom is 12.2. We've got the angle here, 5.4. So the only thing we're missing is the bottom of this triangle. We've got the whole top, we've got the angle, we've got the side, we've got that angle, we've got to here. This is going to force us to use the Pythagorean theorem to find the third side of this triangle. I don't love it, but it's probably the kind of problem you're going to get on the test. So Pythagorean theorem is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And the c squared is always the hypotenuse. Hypotenuse, which is also the longest side, which is what they gave us. So we're going to fill this out with what we've got. The hypotenuse is 8.3. Let me get another piece of paper so I'm not writing super tiny. There we go. So a squared plus b squared equals c squared. C squared is 8.3. That's the longest side of a triangle. And then they gave us the second side. They gave us the 7. It doesn't really matter whether it's A or B. The only one you need to know is C. So this is going to stay a squared. Now, this is an algebraic equation. We need to get all the variables to one side, all the numbers to the other. So we're going to get rid of that 7. We're going to take it away from here because that zeroes it out. We're also going to take it away from here. Now we've got a squared equals 1.3. But we're not done because we need to break the a squared into a. And to do that means we have to do this. Square root of 1.3. That will give us, that will give us a. Let your calculator do it. Your square root button is right down here next to the 7. It's up on top. So we're going to have to hit the green button and then that button. So green button, square root, 1.3, enter. 1.14. So A equals 1.14. We're going to come back to our shape. This is 1.14. We have got every side accounted for. So for perimeter, we add all of these up. Decide where you're going to start. I'm going to start right here in this corner, and I'm going to go up. So we have got 8.3 plus 8.1 plus 4.3 plus this whole side is 12.2 plus this little angled up area, 5.4 plus 8.1 plus our last little bit, 1.14. 47.54. That is our perimeter for this shape. Now we're going to do the area. It's going to take a little bit of work because we've got a lot of shapes happening, don't we? But some of them are not too bad. All right, we have got a very nice rectangle right here. And we can take care of that by adding the two numbers at the top. And then we've got the height right here, or the side, 7. So 8.1 plus 4.3 is 12.4. That's length times the width is 7. And I have to do a calculator for that because I have no idea what that would be. 12.4 times 7. So the area of this rectangle is 86.8. So we have eliminated all of this. That leaves us with two little triangles, doesn't it? And again, the area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height. So let's start with this little guy down here. We actually have this measurement right here. It's 4.3. And we can find this measurement because the entire line is 12.2, but we need to get rid of this part, which is 7. So 12.2 minus 7 is going to be 5.2, right? 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, 5.2. So this little piece down here is 5.2 because this piece is 7. Hopefully that makes sense. So we can find the area of this triangle now. It is 1/2 times the base, which is 4.3, that flat part, times the height, which is the straight part, 5.2. And then let your calculator do that because that's, you know, who wants to multiply decimals in a fraction. We've got fraction button, 1 arrow down, 2 arrow over, times parentheses 4. Oops, I don't need to do both. You either do the parentheses or you do the times. 4.3 times 5.2. 1118. So we add that to this portion. And then we need to find, oh, we have the 3 sides. Look at that. We don't even have to figure anything out. So again, 1/2 base, which is going to be the 1.14 times the height is 7. So let your calculator do that. Fraction button, 1, arrow down, 2, arrow out of fraction mode. This time I'm going to use parentheses, 1.14, parentheses, 7, 399. 3.99. Then we're just going to add those 3 figures up. We've got 16, 17, carry the 1, 18, 19, carry the 1, 8, 9, 10, 11, carry the 1, 8, 9, 10. It's going to be 101.97 for area. Oh, I didn't give myself room, did I? It's 101.97. So what do you think of these composite shapes? They're a
You see
little... Go ahead.
you make them easy.
Oh, thank you. That's awesome. That's what I want to do, because I want you guys to go in there, and when they throw something ridiculous at you, I want you to be able to say, you know what? This is not an issue. I can totally do this. It's just, it takes some practice because you need to get used to seeing things like this. That's awesome, Kylie. Thank you. So I gave you a ton of these too, and they have the answers on the back. I don't particularly like their directions, but that you've got them. So this particular publisher, it's from Math Drills. They will tell you how to do it, but you find the way that makes the most sense to you. However you choose to break down a shape is perfectly okay. I should probably do this one because it's got a circle, huh? Yeah, we better do that one.
The only problem, doctor, is when we don't have the measure of a side. Yes.
Exactly. And somewhere, if they want you to answer these questions, somewhere they have to give it to you. They may have hidden it, you know, like tucked it inside or split a line in 2, but it has to be there, because if they don't give it to you, you cannot solve it. This one's going to be interesting. I did not look at this one before. Let's see what to do with this one. Let me get another piece of paper, because this looks like a complicated one. Doable, but complicated. So we've got 4 shapes happening, right? We've got the rectangle, we've got the half circle, and then 2 triangles. And are they, I think they're equilateral triangles. Yep, they are. So all we need to do with the triangles is fill in what we know about the other one. This piece right here is 4.2. It matches the other side. They're mirrored triangles. That means this long side is 9.3. Here's the third side, 8.4, which means this side is also 8.4. Now we have the measurement for our rectangle as well. Then this piece for the circle, we're going to deal with the circle now. This piece is going to be 18.3 because it mirrors that one. And that is our diameter for the circle. So let's grab this. The circumference is the area outside the circle, but we want the area. We want pi times the radius squared. So pi r squared. That is the area of a circle. We have half a circle, so we have 2 steps to take with this circle. What is the radius? If our diameter is 18.3, what's the radius?
It would be 9.1.
It would be perfect. So our radius is going to be 9, whoops, that looks terrible. 9.15. So all we do with that, pi is always 3.14, right?
We only use 2 decimals in pi.
Yeah, and always use 3.14. All of GED's problems only deal with 3.14. That's why I don't tell you to use this button, the pi button. It's too precise. The answers will not match because GED only goes out to 1.4. So that is always pi, 3.14. And the really nice thing, they actually tell you. So it's not even something you have to remember. It's on your formula sheet. Okay, so we've got pi times the radius squared. Gonna let the calculator do that one. 3.14 times 9.15. Exponent is that little tent button right up here, kitty corner from the 7. Exponent mode, 2, arrow out of exponent mode, hit enter, 262.88865. This is going to be basically be 262.9. So we're not done with that circle yet, though, are we? 262.9. We pull our circle back down. What do we need to do for the area to actually represent this half a circle? We have to cut it in half, don't we?
Yes.
And we can do it right here. We don't even have to change anything. Divide that by 2. The area of this particular circle is 131.4. 31.4. All right, so the hardest part is done. We got our circle taken care of. I'm gonna write this here. That's the circle. The area of the rectangle is 18.3 times 8.4, length times width. So 18.3 times 8.4. Did I do those numbers right? Yes. 153.72 for the rectangle. 0.72. And then we've got 2 triangles that are exactly alike. And the area of a triangle, again, is 1/2 base times height. See what they do? This is a complicated problem. You have had to find the area of a circle, then cut it in half, a rectangle, and triangles. That's a lot for one problem. But 1/2 base times height, base is 4.2, height is 8.4. So fraction button, 1, arrow down, 2, arrow out, times, what'd I say? Can't even remember, 4.2, close parentheses, times the height is 8.4. It's a lot, 17.64. 17.64, then we add all 3. Wait, we have 2 triangles. I better not forget. We've got 2 triangles. We've got 4 shapes all together. Add those up and that'll be the total area. 12, 13, 14. Oops, no, that's a 0, sorry. 8, 9, 10, that's a 10. Carry the 1, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, be 24. Carry the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, be 20. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Should be, did I do that right? I didn't do that right. I'm missing something. I'm going to type that in. This is why you don't do it by hand.
320.3.
Thank you. Yeah. Use your calculator. Don't try to add by hand. I didn't even line it up well. So what do you think?
That
It was
that
fun.
looks very easy. That looks very.
Yeah. Yeah, it's something else, isn't it? This shape will be similar. You'll figure out, here's your diameter. You'll figure out the area of the circle based on, nice, Kylie, I love that. And then you'll figure out the triangle and the square. Add them together, and you've got the area of the entire shape. So, and these have the answers on the back, so you can check your work. And we'll do, next Monday, we're going to do volume and surface area. Volume is easy. It's pretty straightforward. I think the most complicated volume is right prism, which is a triangle, or the pyramid. And that's because it's got a big B, which is not the base. It is the area of the bottom of the shape, but we'll do that next week. And then surface area, half of them are straightforward, half of them are annoying. Just know that. We'll do the annoying ones. All right. So go forth, work on composite shapes, because you know that's what GED is going to do to you. They're not going to give you one triangle and say, oh, hey, find the area of this triangle. They're going to give you a mess of shapes combined together, and you're going to have to break each little piece out, and you're going to have to calculate each piece and then come back and either add them or subtract pieces, whatever. So they couldn't possibly make it super easy for you. And again, time is your issue. So the more comfortable you are with this calculator, the better. If there was no timer, every one of you would pass every test the first time, because you'd be able to think through the problems.
Yeah.
You know, you wouldn't have that thing ticking down on the screen. So get really comfortable with this. It'll save you time. And you can see some problems are going to take a little bit longer, even if they seem like fairly simple problems. There's just so much that you have to do. It's going to take a little bit of time. All right. You guys have a great day, and I'll get the recording out to you. And let me know if you have any questions.
Thank you very much, Dr.